No, no.
Okay,
Thank you,
okay.
Amis.
Yeah. So Henry, welcome to our fourth class. So our today's topic is array, and we'll be discussing about how to create and use array in JavaScript and some other basic things of array. And then finally, maybe you'll see some advanced structure and uses of array. So let's get started. So at first, let me explain you what is array and how it works. So array is a powerful data structure actually, and it's very common in many programming languages. I think almost in every programming languages you may have get the array data structure, and it is very popular to store data, especially when it comes to a list or I mean a big list or a small list. We normally use array, and there are many other uses actually. For example, when we are passing data from a server to the client side, and at that time the data normally comes in a JSON format, and under the hood, JSON is means JavaScript object notation, and in that case, I mean in this format, they also use array. um, in a short, I can say there are lots of uses of array in programming languages to data transfer, data store, and many more actually. I mean, under the hood, array is a very important data structure for all programming languages. So now let's see how can we declare an array and why we need array, and then I will go to the VS Code and see how array works in live coding. So for example, suppose you wanna print a list in your screen, or you wanna show a list to your users. So how can you do that? You have to declare lots of variable, or you can do that by consoling, logging in the console this way. So you can do it for a small list. Suppose you have a list of thousands of entity, or thousands of variable, or maybe hundreds of variable. So in that case, it's very boring to declare hundreds of variable or to write the same things again and again. So here it comes with solution, and that is you can do the whole things by using only three simple lines. We can say here, and that is here we declare an array and we put all the elements inside an array, and then we throw a loop, and our loop does the rest of the works for us. So this is why we need to use array, and we use array in different cases. Now let's see how can we declare and use an array. I mean, how can I create an array? So in JavaScript, there are normally two notation or two convention to declaring an array and using an array. The first one is you will declare an array and store the elements of array inside that. And then the second one is at first you will declare an empty array, and then you will put the elements of array later, and it can happen dynamically or also manually. For example, the element of this empty array may comes from user. I mean, if user gives some input, you will store those inputs inside this array, and then later you can use those things, those input in the below code. I mean, in the down code. Okay, so now let's go to our VS Code and see how things work in live. So I'm gonna starting my VS Code. Okay, I'm going to, oops. So I hope my VS Code is visible to you. Let me,
Yes, yes, it is.
let me close this file. I don't want to save it. And then here we go. Okay, so I'm going to clear it. So at first, let's declare a variable, and I want to give it a name ARR, like that, AR1 maybe. Okay, and at first I'll show you the first notation, first style of declaring an array, and then I'll show the second one. For example, suppose you have a list of fruits, your most favorite fruits maybe. So my favorite fruits are like mango, you can say, and then lychee. I don't know if these fruits are,
Grapes.
yeah, grapes. and
Bananas.
then banana.
Banana.
Yeah, BANANA, banana. And then maybe the last one I would say apple. Okay. So here we have just what we have done here. We'll just put the name of each entities in a separate quotation, and then we put comma between two entity. And then the important thing here is you have to give a bracket. You can say here third bracket maybe in the first and the last of your list. And then JavaScript will understand that it's an array. So in JavaScript, array string, all the things are object actually. So what do you mean by object? Let me explain a little. For example, we can say we are human, so we are kind of object, and we can give more example of object. And if anything is an object, then an object has must few things, like an object has few properties and few function, right? So if I say that I'm an object, I'm a human and I'm an object, so I will have some properties and I will have some function. So what are my properties? My properties are like I have two hands, two legs, two eyes. These are my properties, right? And what kind of function I do? I do lots of function, like I do sleep, I do eat, and I do swim, and many other things. So if we say in case of human, I mean human object, there are few properties which are common among every human, and there are few functions which are also common, but there are few properties or function which are not common. For example, all the humans can code, right? And all the humans can ride a bicycle. So these are customized function, like we can say, of an object. But all the humans, they can eat, they can sleep. So these are the very common properties, functions of human object. So here, in case of array, all the array will have few common object, few common functions and properties. And in case some arrays, we declare those customizable, and they will have few customized properties and functions. In some cases, we also call functions named by method. Okay, so actually, functions and method are same, but we call them in a different way. So later in the class of object-oriented programming, we'll see how method works and how can we declare a method for any object, and maybe something more advanced things. Okay, so I have used here the first way to declare an array. I mean the first style to declare an array and store things inside that array. So now let's see how can we print this array and how can we access the element of this array. So let me run this code, and I'm gonna type in here node class4.js. Oops. What happened here? I don't know. Oops. Why it goes there? And then node class4. Oh, okay. It shows no output because I'm not logging anything in the console, right? So let me write some line, and then we log the array1 in our console, and then run now. So you can see we have put the whole list in our console. So now let me explain how can we access each element separately, and then we'll see how can we declare, and I mean the another style of declaring an array and accessing the elements. So in case of array, for example, I want to give you another example about the index. Let me show you the Microsoft Excel. So when we see in the Excel, for example, if you have data in few column or rows, and then we'll have few index right here. Here in the left side, we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like that. So these are our index, right? So whenever we want to run a function or we want to do some operation, how Microsoft Excel under the hood get the reference. So actually, the Microsoft Excel use the cell reference. And then in case of using the cell reference, the first thing Microsoft Excel use is the reference of the row. For example, here, say for example, I write here mango. Okay. So in case of mango, the cell reference of the mango will be 2, 1, right? Why 2? Because it's in the second row. And then why 1? Because it's in the first column. Okay. So if I write something here like that, and then the cell reference for this column will be 2, 2, right? Because it's in the second column, second row and the second column. So this is the way how referencing works in case of Microsoft Excel under the hood. Actually, as we see here, A, B, C. So these are given in the graphical user interface for the users to use it easily. But actually, under the hood, the program works by using the reference of the cell. So here, in case of array, we also use some kind of reference, and that comes from the index of the array. So in case of array, in all programming languages, normally they start counting from 0. So for example, here the index for the mango will be 0, and then lychee will be 1, grapes will be 2, and then banana will be 3, and apple will be 4. And this will go on and on this way as long as we expand our list. Okay. So if I wanna access, if I wanna show only the first element of this array, then what will I need to do is I need to write the name of the array, I mean the variable name, and then put a third bracket, and then I will need to pass here the element number. So I mean the index of the element. So mango here is the first element. So the index of the mango will be 0. So I'm gonna put in here 0, and then now let's run this code. So you can see that we got mango here. So if I want to access the grapes, then what will I enter here? So let me count from the first 0, 1, 2. So the index of the grape will be 2. And then let me run this code again. You'll see the grapes. So this is how actually we can access the element of any array, and this way we can also change the element of array, and we can also input element of array. For example, I want to add another element, or I want to change the say for example the third element, and the index of the third element will be 2. And then in case of grapes, I want to put something else, like I want to put orange. Okay. And now if we if we log the third element in the console, you will no longer see the grapes, it will become orange. Let me run the code, and you can see that it's now orange. So this is how we can actually change the element of array. And now, for example, you want to input an element at the last of this array. Okay, so how can I do that? We can do it dynamically, but for now I want to show you how can I do it manually. And it is, let me count from the starting, and let me find out the index of the apple. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 index here. That means we have 5 element. I mean the number of index will be 1 less than the total element. Okay. So if I want to put something in the sixth element, so the index will be sixth element will be 5, right? So I just put here 5, and then let me print out the whole array and what is find here in our console. So I can see that we have got orange as the last element of this array. So this is how the indexing of array works, and how can we access the elements of array. There is another system or notation we can say, and that is at first we can declare an empty array, and then we can propagate the element of array later on. So now let me show you that. So here at first I have declared an empty array, and then this array is not totally void. I mean there is no element inside this array. Now let me run this code and see what we got. You can see that we got an empty array. There is nothing inside that array. And now I wanna give input. I wanna put some things inside the array. For example, in the 0th index, I mean I wanna put the first element is, let me say I wanna keep the name of the river of my country. So these are like Potma. You can also say Potma maybe. And then I wanna put the second element, and that will be maybe Jamuna. Okay. And this way I can put as long as I want. Okay. So now let me run the code again. You can see that we got Padma Jamuna. So we can put many more elements inside this array. And we can do the same thing dynamically. For example, we can do the same thing by using a for loop or any other loop. And we can also take input from the user and put those data inside that array. And later we can use those array or in our code. So we have seen now how can we put text type data inside our array. Now let me show you how can we put number type data. So if you want to put number inside your array, it's very easy. You just need to type number. For example, I want to put 1 and 99 here, and then let me run the code. You can see we got 1 as our first element and 99 as our second element. Okay, so I think we have covered this slide, and this slide. Yeah, sure. Let me know.
Ramis, if I add an element in a number that already exists, it is replaced?
Could you repeat if you add an element over what?
If I have an array with element in the number zero, number first
Yeah, yeah,
position,
yeah.
right? Then I add another element and I consider the the first position again. So the second
Yes.
element replace the first.
Yeah, exactly. If you add the second element in the first place, I mean in the zeroth index, okay, let me give you an example. For example, at first I added 1 in the zeroth, in the first, I mean in the zero index, and then I put the zero index here again, and I put here like 78 maybe. So now the first, I mean, 1 will be replaced by 78 because when the code execute, I mean when the program run the code, at first it will find an empty array, and then it will find here that we added an element in the zero index, and then it will say, see that we add another element in the 1 index, and then it will find again we change we add another element in the zero index. So now the value of the zero index will be changed, and the new value will be 78. Let me run the code so you could see that it's now changed into 78. I hope it's clear now.
Okay, I see. Ramis, what about the type? So arrays could be numbers and another element, or just numbers. If I put
Uh,
numbers,
okay, actually it
I,
depends. Let me give you a try an experiment doing. You mean that if you can add multiple types of data in the same array, right?
yes, yes,
Okay,
yes,
well,
yes.
let's see how can I do. Yeah, yeah, we can do that. You can see we can do that. We can use we can enter multiple types of data in the same array. For example, let me put here some Boolean type data, Boolean maybe. So false. Yeah. So now let's try to run the code again, and what we see, it gives an error, right? I don't know. Uh, Let me try again another way. Okay. Okay, now you can see that uh, we can enter Boolean type data, we can enter number type data, also text type data in the same array, and it will be a same list. But normally, convention is that we normally don't mix the data type. For example, in case of Python, there's a same data type which is known as list, but when it comes to NumPy, I don't know if you know about NumPy. NumPy is a very powerful data structure library, not data structure. And then in case of NumPy, Python users, I mean, uh, inside the NumPy, they don't mix up that type of data in the same array normally. Yeah. So you can use it, but it's not recommended. But in some cases, maybe you need that. Okay. We'll see some other uses actually in future. How can we use the same types of different types of data in the same array? Maybe I will take a class on Google Chart API, and maybe in that class we will see how we'll implement the use of different types of data in the same array. Okay. I hope
Okay,
it's
James. Yeah,
okay. Thank you.
thanks.
So okay, now we'll see how can we throw a loop and then we can display all the elements of an array one by one. Now here I've got a question for you, and that is, what will be the value here? I mean, what will be the condition here? Just tell me. So here we have an array, right? And we're gonna log the each element of this array in our console. So we run a loop. So our loop will run till what? Till which number? Okay. You can count here 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have got 4 element in our array, and that means we have 3 index, right? From 0 to 3, right? So what will be the condition here? Just tell me.
I think that when when the list is complete, so there isn't any other part
Uh,
of
yeah, that means
the
it will run till I less than 4, right? I mean till 3. Okay, let me copy this code from here and show you. So let me clear it. Yeah, okay. I have got a few things maybe. Oh, maybe it can detect the double quotation. Let me clear those things. Right, mango, um, grave, and then banana. Okay, there's it. So now, what will this code execute? What happened? We need to put a parenthesis here. Okay, so now let me explain you the code. So we have got an array with 3 elements, and we're gonna show the list one by one in our console, right? So what will we do actually? We'll throw a loop that will run till 3, right? From 0, 1, 2, 3. So here we declare a variable I, and the initial value of I is 0, and then it will run till it becomes 3, right? I mean, whenever I becomes 4, the loop will be broken, right? And then it will go inside the loop, and when I goes inside the loop with the 0 value, that means AR2 0, right? So it will show mango, and then I comes back to the hard expression, and it will increase the value of I by 1, and then it will check the condition again, and it gets true, and then it will go inside the loop again, and now the value of I will be 1. That means it will log grave in our console, right? I mean, it will print grave in our console, and this way it will also print the banana, and then when the value of the I becomes 4, it comes here to check the condition, and it becomes false, and then the loop is break. Okay, now let me run the code. What happened? Let me try to find it out. Oops, I entered the wrong command. Maybe console is not. Oh, sorry. Console is not defined. What does it mean? Okay, can you see that I have done a subtle mistake here, and that is I put the C in the uppercase. That's why it can't find the console. So I hope it will work now. Okay. So in the console, you can see that mango, grape, banana, and undefined. So can you tell me why we got this undefined?
um, where there is not any
Yeah, exactly. There is
element
not
in the
exactly
number.
in that position. So the problem
But
here is we know that the index of our array start from 0. So we have 3 index here, 0, 1, 2, right? So whenever the value of I becomes 3, it goes here and try to find out if there is anything in the third position, and it finds nothing. That's why it shows undefined. So we have to put here 3, right? If we don't want to see the undefined things, then run here. And then we have got mango, grape, banana. Okay. So now let me show you another thing, and there is let's say we have some number inside the array, and we want to increase the value of this number by maybe 2. Okay, so 2, 4, maybe 6. Okay, so what we want to do, we want to increase the value of each number by 2, right? So what will we do? At first, we'll run the loop, and when the number comes inside here, we'll increase, we'll add another 2 with this number. After a while, we'll see how can we keep the increased number inside an array, inside another array maybe. Okay, so now you have got 4, 6, 8. So actually, we can do lots of things by using array. So now let's go back to our slide. So I think we have discussed here how can we throw a loop and print each element of the array. So now we have another new thing, and that is properties and method of array. We have discussed already about properties and method, and now let me explain how things work in real time. So we have told that um, as array is an object, array will have few properties and few methods. So properties are like a fixed things, like you have 2 legs, 2 hands, these are the properties, and methods or functions are something it will do, right? So how can we access properties and method of any array? So it's very easy. So as this is an array, this array will have few properties, and our very first property will use that console.log. We want to see the length of this array. Okay, so length is a property. It comes with built-in. I mean, the programming language itself gives us this opportunity to use this length so that we can easily get how many elements we have inside this array. Okay, so now let me run the console and I will find here 3, right? So you can see that 3. Let me add some text here. Length of the array is, okay. Oops. Okay, now run the code again. Now you could see the length of the array is 3. So here, as we see, how can we access the property of any array? It's very easy. We need to write the name of the array, I mean the variable name, and then give a dot, and then we will write here length. So this is the very common property we use actually. You can see here, whenever we keep cursor here, you can see a property, right? So later we'll see how can we use this length property to more dynamically in our code. Okay, now let's see a very common method of array, and that is sort method. So what will it do? It will sort our array alphabetically or numerically. So for example, here in this array, suppose we have an array like that this way, maybe. Okay, let me write 4, 5, 1, 2, and then 0, and then 9, and then maybe 0, and then 1 again. So now we want to sort this array. Sort means here we don't maintain any order, like, right? So I want this array to be sorted in ascending order or in a descending order. For example, I mean the lowest value will become first, and then the highest value will become later. Okay, so how can we do that? We can do that by using sort method, sort function. As we say that we'll have few built-in property and method. This is also another built-in property method that comes with programming language itself. So when we use the sort method, actually it will sort our array, and our array will be organized in a way that the lowest value will become first and the highest value will be goes later. So now let's run this code again. So you could see that. Okay, let me console the array before sorting and after sorting. Okay. So let me write here, write that before sorting. Okay, and this will come after sorting. So now let's see. So you can see that before sorting, it comes 4, 5, 1, 2, 9, 0, 1. And then when we sort this array, it comes, I mean, the lowest value comes first and then highest value goes later. So we can do the same thing even if we have some text type data. For example, we have orange, and then we have apple, and then we have, say, citrus, then we say banana, Okay, that's all. So now if we sort this array, what will happen here is that the apple will comes first, and then banana will come second, and then citrus will come third, and then orange will go last, because um, it will come alphabetically. It will be sorted alphabetically. Okay, let me run the code. So you can see that before sorting, we have got orange at our first place, and after sorting, banana and orange. So it happens because of the uppercase of the B. So now let me uh, it's lowercase, and now let's say again. Okay, so now I could see that apple comes first, banana comes second, and this orange goes last. Okay, so in this array, it is sorted alphabetically. So we can use the sort method whenever we want to sort any array, and it will be very helpful. Later we'll see how can we implement these things. Okay, so we have discussed about property and method, and then let's see what we'll have in our next. Okay, we have discussed these things already. Okay, now we'll see how can we throw a loop and we can print the element of array one by one by using the length property. Okay, so for example, here we have a what happened here? Okay, we need to put a curly braces here. Okay, Cyrus will do it now. Okay, now let's say we have an array and we don't know the length of that array. Okay, maybe the input comes from the user. After a while, I will see how can we take input from the user and store inside the array. So what will happen? How can we do that? We can use length property of the array. In that case, here what we have done here, at first we declare a variable from, as we know that the indexing of the array start from 0, that's why we put here 0, and then we compare the I mean this loop will be executed until I becomes more than the length of this array, right? So what will be the length of this array? If we count 1 2 3 4, so 4 is the length of this array, so we need to run this loop until it becomes 3, because the last index of this of the element of this array is 3, 0 1 2 3, right? So here we declare the value of I by 0, and then we run this loop until I becomes 3, right? Whenever I becomes 4, this loop will be broken. Okay, now let me use console and show all element one by one. Okay, so we use land step here, and we just put here I. So let me take another console and then node class4.js. Okay, so now you could see that we have got all the element one by one: water body, barren land, settlement, and vegetation. So this comes from here, and whenever the value of I becomes 4, the loop is broken. Okay, so I hope it's clear now to you. How can we use the length property of the array? Okay,
Yeah,
so
it's clear.
okay, thank you. So we have seen already how can we add some element in the inside the array. Now we'll see another way how can we add element dynamically inside an array. So we have seen already use of for loop array element. How can we increase the number? What's this? Sorting user input in array. Okay, and I'll show that you, and before that I'll show you another thing, and that is pushing inside an array. For example, we have an array. This is our array, and put I wanna put some other things at last. Okay, so we can do it by using another array method, and that is push. So length use type. At first the name of the array will come, and then we'll write push. And just remember, whenever we'll use any method, we need to give a dot here. I mean, the array method, we need to give a dot after the array name, and then we need to give the name of that method, and then we need to pass our value inside parentheses. Okay. So I wanna put here like forest maybe. Okay, we have got vegetation. So what can we say? Like settlement for land, road maybe. Okay. So what will happen now? This value will goes inside this array and it will be stored as the last element. Okay. So as many time as we use the push method to push anything inside that array, it will be added as the last element. Okay, at the last of this array. So now let me run this code again and show you. So you could see that we have got road as our last element. Okay. So how can we do this dynamically, and how can we take input from user and then we'll create an empty array and we'll push the element one by one. Now let me show you it from here. Okay, let me clear all the things and declare an array, maybe number. Okay, it's an empty array. I wanna throw a loop and then I wanna push the number inside that array from our for loop. Okay, so now let's throw a for loop and I wanna start from maybe 1. Okay, maybe 1. No, I need to start from 0 as we need to store the I mean we need to access the element from 0 index, so we need to put the value of I 0 and then for example I wanna take input 5 numbers from 1 to 5 and then okay we have got an error here. I need to put a semicolon. So now let's write. So now what I wanna do is I wanna push um, okay I want to push the value of I inside this array. Okay, now okay let's say I wanna increase the value of I by 1 and then push inside that array. One thing mentioned here is that here it won't be increase our value of I, but it will be whenever I comes here it will add another 1 and then it will push that number inside that array. Okay, now let me show you the console. Oops. Console.log and that number. Okay, and class4. Yes, so here we go. You could see that 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, we are pushing the element of array from our for loop. Okay, so we have declared a empty array. Henry, this session will be over in a minute. I'll give you another link. Okay,
Okay, okay.
I,
Thanks,
I hope
James.
I hope that things are clear now to you.
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay, so we'll
Thank
see.
you.
Yeah, we will see a few other things in the next session, and then we'll be done for today.
Okay, okay. And 10 minutes or 5 minutes?
It will be 10 minutes actually. You have to wait for 10
10,
minutes.
10 minutes. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah. Thanks
Yeah,
for your
I
patience.
go for a cup of coffee. I
Yeah,
go.
you can do anything you want actually.